Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head back to Scotland, and I received a very kind donation from this brewery, so I have to give a big thank you to Brewdog for this one. And we're going to go to one of my favourite series of Brewdog beers. We're going to have the new one from the Hello My Name Is range, and this one is Holy Moose, and this one is a regular IPA, and it's got the addition of lingonberries, blueberries, cloudberries and also bog myrtle as well, which should be a really quite interesting combination actually. It is a regular IPA rather than a double IPA, but once again I have to thank Brewdog for donating this beer to the channel. I've done about 50 reviews for Brewdog, and they're a really interesting company to talk about just because of how well they've grown and the way they've actually done it. So a very interesting company, and they produce some pretty damn good beer as well, I have to say. So I always enjoy doing my Brewdog reviews, particularly when they were local to me when I lived in Aberdeen. But anyway, as always with the reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about Brewdog. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward a minute or two. All of the usual links are in the video description below. The brewery website, the link to my other Brewdog reviews, the Facebook profile for the channel and the Untappd profile as well. So feel free to connect with me in whatever way you wish, and it's always interesting to hear from you guys. And once again, thank you to Brewdog for sending me this beer. So anyway, to tell you about Brewdog, this brewery of course is the love child of James Watt and Martin Dickey, and they were founded back in 2007. Their first brewery was in the Keswick Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh, which is in the very northeast corner of Scotland, right on the tip of the monster's nose as I like to describe it. But more recently they moved their main brewing operations to their new and purpose-built facility in Ellon, Aberdeenshire. It's a bit closer to the big city of Aberdeen, the oil city of Scotland. But these guys are known, as I've told you many times, for being a very experimental brewery, and particularly as well for their strong beers. They held the title of World's Strongest Beer on 3 separate occasions, and you can still actually buy 2 of the beers that had that title, the Tactical Nuclear Penguin and the Sink the Bismarck, both really nice actually. But these guys are largely inspired by the American craft brewing renaissance. Both James and Martin say that Stone Brewing are really the brewery that kind of really push their influence, if you like. So if you like stone beer, definitely check out Brewdog. But they've got several brew pubs these days throughout the UK. The first one opened in Aberdeen in 2009. The following year they expanded to Glasgow and Edinburgh, and since then they've expanded all throughout England, and they've got more bars in Scotland now, and they've even got sites in Sweden, in Japan, Brazil, few in Italy now as well. I think they have one in Norway too, and they're forever expanding. So keep an eye on the Brewdog website for the updates on the brew pubs and everything like that. There's always really good beer there, both from Brewdog and from other ones as well. And as I say, this is a really interesting company, and the reason for that is because of their Equity for Punks scheme. And they've done this about 4, I think this is number 4 that they've done with Equity for Punks, and essentially it allows fans of the brewery like you and me to buy into the brewery, and this is how they fund their infrastructure development, if you like. So this is how they fund their new pubs and their further capacity in the brewery, if you like. This was how they funded their new place in Ellon in Aberdeenshire, and because of this they're actually opening up a second brewery in Columbus, Ohio. So you can buy into the brewery and all the money goes towards further expansion for the brewery. So really quite cool, and for those of you who are studying business subjects at university, Brewdog I'm sure would make a really interesting case study for you to look at. It's something, if I was doing a business degree, I'm doing physics, but if I was doing a business degree, I would definitely want to do a kind of case study on Brewdog, because the way they've grown and the way they've done it is really very interesting actually. Really quite, it's just amazing how much they've actually grown. But this guy, as I told you, is a 5.5% IPA. It's 40 IBUs and it's hopped with Amarillo, Chinook and Mosaic hops, and it contains cloudberries, lingonberries, blueberries and sea buckthorn as well. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. You can see there, Brewdog changed their artwork recently. I really liked the old labels, but some of the new ones for the special beers are actually really cool. And this is the typical Brewdog bottle cap on this one. They've always got quite a funny blurb on the side of these things, but it says, "Hello, my name is Holy Moose. Brewdog is an alternative small company owned by thousands of people who love craft beer. They are our shareholders, our friends, our community, and the heart and soul of our business. This is your chance to join them. In 2010 and 2012, we tore up convention, turned the traditional business model on its head, and saw over 14,000 people invest in Equity for Punks, and now it's back, bigger and better than ever. Equity for Punks gives you the chance to own part of Brewdog. By investing, you will entitle yourself to a lifetime discount in all of our bars and online shops, as well as a whole host of other benefits. Find out more at brewdog.com/equity for punks. So yeah, really interesting brewery, like I said, a very interesting business model, as I said, they've got as well. So, and the other thing that's interesting about this beer is if you go on to the brewery website, or onto the YouTube channel, in fact, as you can see, nice smoky opening there, but they have a really quite interesting video that goes with this one. It's actually quite funny, and Brewdog have been known a little bit for their kind of quite funny and quite corny marketing. So in the video for that goes with this beer, we find James Watt and Martin Dickey. It shows them travelling to Scandinavia and walking through the hills and stuff to find the Holy Moose and save him from industrial beer. And they go on and find the Holy Moose, which turns out to be a rock with a beer tap in it. Then they're confronted by the Finns, Danes, Norwegians and Swedes, and they basically want to claim the Holy Moose for themselves. So James Watt and Martin Dickey, after drinking the beer from this tap, they grow hooves which can fire lasers, and then they fight the Nordic people, but just kind of cuts out there. It's really quite funny and quite corny. I do like some of the funny Brewdog videos that they put on the channel, but this one should be a really quite interesting beer. And as you open it up, you get a really big smell of berries from this one. So the Hello My Name Is series is always big double IPAs usually, until quite recently they did the Hello My Name Is Little Ingrid, and this one is interesting because it's almost like it's a collaboration of the Hello My Name Is Mette Marie, the Hello My Name Is Päivi, which was a Finnish one, Mette Marie was Norwegian, and there was also Ingrid as well, which contained the cloudberries from Sweden, and the bog myrtle, I guess, that's in this one, or sea buckthorn. I'm saying bog myrtle, it's sea buckthorn. They also had one that was from Denmark, but I forget what the Danish one was called. But Hello My Name Is a really awesome series of beers from Brewdog. So yeah, if you take a smell of the aroma from this one, it's really quite nice. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice dark reddish colour, this one, really nice dark reddy pink. Not even a copper colour, not even a copper amber, definitely a nice reddy colour there. I'll just check how you're seeing that on the camera, but it's poured a really nice pinky red colour. This, it isn't transparent, or it is a little bit, you can see my fingers through it there on the camera, but really attractive looking, and there's a half finger of a frothy kind of creamy coloured head there. The head actually comes out a little bit pink just because of the colour of the beer. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass at the bottom there, but a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head. But the beer smells really nice, so let's take a closer look at that. Yeah, you can really pick up the you can really pick out the cloudberries on this one. If you know what Copperberg cloudberry cider smells like, then that's definitely what you're getting out of this. You can also smell the blueberries as well. The Hello My Name Is Päivi, incidentally, which had the blueberries, was a beautiful one. Probably my favourite in the series, actually. It was really, really nice. They also did one from Japan called Konnichiwa Kitsune, and that was a really good one also. And Hello My Name Is Vladimir was quite funny. That was a nice beer too. They sent that to the Kremlin and let Vladimir Putin try some of it. So yeah, but this one, as I said, a lot of nice fruity characteristics coming out of this one. It smells quite a bit like jam actually, but you can smell the cloudberries and the lingonberries coming out in this one. The bit of a tart character from the lingonberries, but the blueberries are really nice in there as well. And there, I think the cloudberries and the blueberries are the ones making up the biggest part of the aroma there. And you can also smell the kind of little herbal fruitiness that comes from the sea buckthorn in this beer as well. But there's a good bit of citrusy tart character coming out too. It's an orangey citrus, and that'll be from the Amarillo hop that's in this beer. You can get just a little teeny bit, if you pay close attention to it, you can get a little bit of the piney resin. That's the Chinook character, and there is a wee bit of a kind of slightly floral and slightly earthy character as well, and that will be the Mosaic hops coming out. But that's really quite light. That's mixing quite well with that sort of herbal character from the sea buckthorn in this one. So it's really interesting. But underneath, you can definitely pick up a little bit of bready malts and a wee bit of spice and maybe some caramel too. But the main component of the aroma that's coming out quite well really is the cloudberries, maybe a bit of the lingonberries too, and also the blueberries. It's a really nice kind of sweet, juicy aroma in there. But if you take a deeper look at it, as I say, you can get some of these more subtle characteristics. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this beer. This is one of the best aromas, incidentally, that I've come across on a Brewdog beer. But let's get stuck into this guy. This is the Hello, My Name is Holy Moose from Brewdog in Ellon in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. A combination of their previous beers in the Hello, My Name is series, coming in at 5.5%. Slanja. Yeah, comes across very different to the aroma actually. You would expect this to be, from the aroma, you would expect it to be a really nice, quite juicy beer. But it's actually got a good bit of sour character in it as well. So before you try and pick out the different components of the flavour, just let your palate adjust to this one. But yeah, once your palate adjusts to this beer, it is really, really quite nice actually. Very easy and very sessionable. The other Hello, My Name Is beers, apart from the Hello, My Name Is Little Ingrid, they're all big, boozy, double IPAs, but this one's a bit lighter and a bit more sessionable. But yeah, really quite nice actually. Around the front edges of the palate, you're getting these nice, interesting, fruity characters coming out. But it's got a good bit of tart sharpness in there. The tarty flavours are coming out. It's not quite a lemon tart that's coming out of this one. There's a little bit of a lemony tart character to it, but it's more like a kind of red berry tart flavour that's coming out of this one. It works really, really quite well and blends together in the flavour really nicely. But once you get past the sharp flavour that comes in, it smooths out quite a bit, and that's when you can start to pick out the different berries that they've put in this beer. So you can get the cloudberries and the lingonberries coming out, and you can really taste that. And the sea buckthorn, I think, is coming out quite as well. It comes across as just as quite herby, and honestly, a little bit of a herbal berry flavour. The sea buckthorn is a really interesting one actually. Yeah. It's really interesting that all the fruity characters are coming out around the edge of the tongue. They spread all the way around, but you'll get a little oily bubble behind the very front of your palate there, and that's where the cloudberries, the lingonberries, and the sea buckthorn, and also a bit of the blueberries are coming out. I think it's the cloudberries and the sea buckthorn that are dominating the flavour, but there is just a kind of sort of subtle element of the blueberries in there. But it's I mean, it's a really nice beer. It's just interesting. It's really quite complex actually. For a regular IPA rather than a double IPA, this has got a lot of stuff going on in the flavour, and it's really nice. But yeah, that kind of tart red berry flavour that's in this beer works really well. There's a good bit of citrusy flavour, nice lemony sherbet. You can almost pick out just a little tiny touch of orange in there as well, and maybe there's a little bit of a kind of peachy or grapefruit just behind the very front of the tongue, but it's dominated really, the fruit flavours in this beer are dominated by that tart fruity sharpness in the beer, and also the cloudberries, the lingonberries, and a bit of the sea buckthorn. The blueberries, I think, take a bit of a back seat to those, but I mean, the fruity characters in this beer are really nice, and this beer probably could you probably could describe it in style as a fruit beer. If you tasted it blind, you might think it's a fruit beer, but it's a nice, the IPA, the fruit IPA works really well. The other one, I had one called the Garden of Eden from Toil, and this beer reminds me of that quite a bit actually, just with different fruits. These fruit IPA beers always give you your palate something really interesting to think about, but underneath these fruit characters, there is a bit of a kind of, there's a light bready character that just blankets the middle of your tongue there, and there's a teeny little bit of caramel sweetness, and it's a little bit toasted. It's like a toasted bread and just a really small hint of caramel, but as you would expect when they've got lingonberries, cloudberries, sea buckthorn and blueberries in this beer, those are what dominate the palate, particularly the cloudberries and the sea buckthorn, I think. But yeah, in the middle of the palate there's a light bready coating that just goes right over your tongue. A little bit of spicy character in there. That comes out a bit more in the aftertaste incidentally. You get just a little bit of a slightly peppery spice there on top of the bready character, and there is maybe just a little, very, very small bit of caramel in the middle of the palate too, and on the back corners of your tongue, there is a little bit of earthy character coming out there, just quite nice and quite smooth. But that's from the Mosaic hop in this beer. But overall, the flavours in this beer are really nice, and I would recommend it to anyone who likes these kind of fruit style IPAs, such as I mentioned, the Garden of Eden from Toil is the one that this beer reminds me of. Or if you like specifically fruit beers, then it's definitely good to go for. But yeah, really nice beer actually. I would recommend this to pretty much anyone who likes the style of beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one though, I would say it's really quite light bodied. The carbonation in it is quite smooth, but as I say, it's got a really nice juicy fruity character, but it's also got a lot of sharp tart flavours in it as well. Those berry flavours in this come across as quite tart, and maybe just a little bit of lemony character too, but there is a bit of maltiness underneath too, a little bit spicy and some earthy hop character as well. So overall, this is a really very interesting beer, one of the more interesting ones that Brewdog have done in recent times, and that's really just because of the really kind of random things of the flavour that they've put in this. I always like it when breweries can make a beer that tests your palate, and this one it certainly does that for me. So overall, this is a really interesting beer. As I said, I'd recommend it to anyone who, for example, likes the fruit IPAs such as Total, Garden of Eden, or if you specifically like fruit beers, then this is definitely one to go for. And it's got a Scandinavian fruit array in it. You've got the blueberries from Finland, the sea buckthorn from Denmark, the lingonberries I believe were the Norwegian part, and the cloudberries are Sweden. So this is a real kind of circle of the Nordic countries, if you like. So a really cool beer from Brewdog, and this of course is from their Equity for Punk scheme. So if you've not tried any of the Brewdog stuff, go and give it a go, because some of the beers that they produce are really good. My personal favourites include the Hello My Name Is series, the Paradox series. I've not tried one of those yet, but they are really good. But my personal favourites are Dogma, the Hardcore IPA, and also Riptide. Those are probably my top 3 beers from the sort of regular beers from Brewdog. So go and check those out. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. It's been really cool to review another Brewdog beer for you. Thank you once again to Brewdog for sending me the beers. Really cool that they kind of sponsored the channel a little bit for this video. So I thank them for sending me their beers. I hope you guys at Brewdog have enjoyed this video as well. But as always, thank you to you guys, the viewers, for watching my reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Go and check out Brewdog. As I said, links in the video description below. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you do happen to have tried it before. There will be more reviews from Brewdog coming, hopefully in the very near future. But please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. More beer reviews for you to come. But until then, like, subscribe, share, comment, all the usual YouTube stuff, and I will catch you soon. Slàinte.